straight from the horse's mouth. Our Neil Young News Report.
Smell the horse on this one.
With this week's update from thrasherswheat.org, here's Thrasher.
Hey, Thrasher here with this week's Neil Young news, and we have fresh wheat bushel number 100 on its way. Hope you're enjoying the 100th edition of Thrashers Wheat Radio here on WBKM and the Harvest for Hope concert. We'll have a bit more to say about producing our 100 programs of Thrashers Wheat Radio at the bottom of the news here, but we'll just jump right into news. As we mentioned, we're playing the Harvest for Hope concert from last weekend's concert with Willie Nelson and Neil Young in a Nebraska cornfield. By all accounts, a big success in terms of raising awareness of the tar sands pipeline cutting through the heartland of America. So, again, congratulations to everyone who participated in that and organized that. Always great to see a lot of folks come out and support Willie and Neil and some of their causes. So, probably the major news item coming out of that concert last weekend out there in Nebraska was Neil Young's backing band. Now, we saw at Farm Aid a couple of weeks ago, Neil Young performed with Willie Nelson's sons, Lucas Nelson and Micah Nelson, for the final song of the set, Rockin' in the Free World. And certainly that was a spirited group there, by all accounts. And from the reports and what you're hearing here from Harvest of Hope, while it does seem a bit ragged in places, new songs for the band, clearly, looks like there's a lot of personality gelling, if you will, with Neil Young and the younger Nelson boys. So we'll just have to see what happens next. We know that we've got the Bridge concerts coming up here at the end of the month, and it would seem to be a fair choice to say that we might see something very similar to the set that we saw there in Nebraska, and that arrangement taking place there at Bridge. Neil opening up solo with some of his familiar songs, and then bringing out the Nelson boys and as his backing band for the last part of his set. So we'll see, but that seems to be a pretty safe choice at the moment. Okay, well, speaking of upcoming concerts, in the meantime, before we get to Bridge here at the later part of the month, next week we have solo shows up in Boston 2 nights, and then in Philly another 2 nights. And again, from a set list perspective, we probably will see something very similar to what we saw earlier in the year up in Carnegie Hall in New York City in terms of a set list, and then probably some new additions such as Who's Going to Stand Up and Save the Earth. But likely we'll have a few surprises along the way. So we'll be up in Philadelphia with our touring buddy, Hounds That Howl, and we'll try and bring back some live reports or some reports on the scene from Philly, and hope to see some of our buddies up there before the show or after the show, during the show. Okay, so let's see what else in terms of Neil Young news. We've been talking a lot about the Neil Young's second book, which will be published, titled Special Deluxe, a Memoir of Life in Cars. That's set to be released on October the 14th. and the publisher has generously provided Thrashers Wheat with a couple of free copies to give away to our readers. So check that out. We have the details on how you can win a copy of Neil Young's new book over on the blog, thrasherswheat.org. Check that out. Send in your entry, and hopefully you get lucky. So, but the book is pretty cool. We got a preview copy last week and have been kind of flipping through it, checking it out. Similar writing style, of course, from what we saw with Waging Heavy Peace. Pretty casual, free-flowing type of narrative structure that Neil Young has, and probably one of the more delightful parts of the book that is pretty obvious when you open it up is that it actually features artwork by none other than Neil Young himself. Who knew? The man is a painter, artist as well. Lots of pictures of his favorite cars. So check that out. Okay, so wrapping up here again with our 100th edition of Thrashers Wheat Radio on WBKM.org. We've got the concert Harvest for Hope, Willie and Neil playing here. Hope everyone's enjoying that. We've certainly enjoyed the past 2 years or so of Thrashers Wheat Radio, sharing lots and lots of great Neil Young music and making lots of new friends, kind of what it's all about for us, the music and friends and sharing. So on to the next 100 bushels of fresh wheat. Okay, so back over to you guys, Eric and Tony.